It's Wednesday, October 27th, and it's time for your Barbados Today morning news update. Minister in the Ministry of Finance, Straughn, has strongly denied accusations that the government was paid millions of dollars to vaccinate Barbadians. In fact, Straughn described the allegations as nonsense and insulting. And while he did not call anyone by name during the debate in Parliament on Tuesday on the Debt Settlement Arrears Bill 2021, Straughn said he was disappointed that someone in public office would make such baseless and false statements.
I don't typically allow my emotions to show on my sleeve, but this government, sir, has worked too hard, and I certainly, sir, have worked too hard over the course of the last 20 months or so to try to give Barbadians, sir, a sense of calm, assurance, sir, with respect to the nature of the conduct of the affairs of this country and this government on their behalf, sir. To allow persons who I say quite frankly, sir, who should know better, ought to know better, and that it is disappointing to see things being said in the way that they're being said, sir, as to suggest that this government is somehow complicit in some grand, nefarious conspiracy to expose Barbadians.
Straughn maintained that all financing required by government had been sought through the correct channels and had been brought to Parliament for approval.
As far as I'm concerned, seeking to go out and mislead the public, that this government was promised money, received money, and if I heard correctly, sir, there was an assertion that the government, through the Ministry of Finance, received $261 million that we ain't got to pay back, sir. If I heard properly. And sir, to my certain knowledge, and this says so, sir, categorically, today, I can say to you, through you, sir, to the leader of the opposition, to all the members of this place, to all the members of the other place, and certainly, sir, to every single Barbadian, to assert that this government has received $261 million that it does not have to repay, sir, when I, sir, do not know of any monies that we have received.
A standard fee of $3 will be charged for the use of a debit card at an ATM that is not for the corresponding bank of the issued card. That's according to Governor of the Central Bank of Barbados, Cleviston Haynes, who said the measure will go into effect on November 1st. He explained, however, that carrying out a transaction at a place of business using the point-of-sale system will not attract a fee.
In terms of the rates that we have looked at, as you're aware, if you use your own ATM, at present that is free, and that will continue to be free. If, however, you use another ATM of another bank, there is a charge. My understanding is those charges have gone as high as $6.50, and therefore we have indicated to the banks that and the credit unions that this charge should be capped at no more than $3. Also, when you use your point-of-sale card at a merchant, some banks is free, but for others there was a charge. But effective November 1, there will be no charge for using your Visa debit card or MasterCard at a merchant.
Haynes said the capping of the ATM fee at $3 is a first step, as the central bank was aware of the complaints from residents about high bank fees associated with debit card transactions.
The bank recognizes that these fees do raise the cost of banking services and considers that high fees for the use of digital banking services may serve to undermine the national efforts to reduce the use of physical cash and increase reliance on digital transactions. The bank has therefore taken the opportunity to review the fees that banks charge each other as proposed by Visa and MasterCard. And following discussions with the banks and the credit unions, the bank has decided to intervene in the pricing of debit card transactions. This initial intervention is intended to standardize the interchange rate for Visa MasterCard debit card transactions and to cushion the impact of the increased fees on depositors and hopefully the business sector. The bank will continue to monitor the impact of these fees and reserves the right for further intervention.
The Barbados Water Authority is taking steps to minimize the potential impact of hurricanes and other climate change-related disasters on the public's access to water. On Tuesday, the BWA announced a $90 million proposal in collaboration with the Green Climate Fund and the Caribbean Community Climate Change Center to build resilience against storm events, climate change disruptions, and access to a revolving adaptation facility fund. Minister in the Ministry of Water Resources Charles Griffith said the initiative proposes to provide water tanks to 1,500 families across the island based on a cabinet paper to be submitted within the next 2 weeks.
This will be done through a needs assessment to ensure that those persons who are most deserving benefit from this particular project. The fact that we have a scarcity of water in the island, embedded in that cabinet paper will also be facilities for residents at different locations to have water-saving devices in their property. What it will also trigger is employment that we know is desperately needed in this country, and we expect that the project will provide employment for masons, for carpenters, for plumbers that will be installing these devices across the country.
Executive Director of the Caribbean Community Climate Change Center, Dr. Colin Young, described the project as a trailblazer for other Caribbean countries.
The fact that the government of Barbados has prioritized this investment, I think, speaks volume, because once you lose power from the grid, you can go to your solar PV system, and then you still have a backup in terms of the microturbine natural gas. So that exact same approach can now be used in terms of also ensuring that the wastewater is going to be pumped and taken to a location that is going to be determined by the government and determine how it's also going to be used. And we all know the story of climate change. The situation is projected to get significantly worse. The number of storm-related events are expected to increase both in terms of intensity and frequency. And things that we used to see once every 30 years will be occurring a lot more often. And as a result, the government is prioritizing adaptation and resilience in key areas like water. And that is why I said earlier, ladies and gentlemen, that the demonstration of this project in Barbados is going to be a very important one for scaling up the lessons in other parts of the Caribbean that also face water scarcity.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Hi, my name is Michelle Thompson. I'm a visually impaired person. I am also a member of the National United Society of the Blind of Barbados. I am vaccinated. I took the vaccination due to the fact that I am diabetic, I'm asthmatic, and I also have high blood pressure. I had no side effects. Everything went calm and smooth, as my doctor said it would go. Please, people, go ahead and do the right thing.
Let's roll up our sleeves and get back to living.
And finally, experts have voted on the recommendation for the Food and Drug Administration and the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention to vaccinate children between ages 5 to 11 against COVID-19 with the Pfizer vaccine. More from Reuters TV.
A panel of expert FDA advisors on Tuesday voted to recommend the use of Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine for children ages 5 to 11. The vote marks an important regulatory step toward reaching about 28 million children for inoculation, most of them back in school for in-person learning. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration is not bound to the advice of its outside experts, but usually follows it. In a clinical trial, Pfizer's vaccine showed 90.7% efficacy against the coronavirus in children aged 5 to 11, the company said. While children become seriously ill or die far less often than adults from COVID-19, some develop complications, and cases in unvaccinated kids have risen due to the highly transmissible Delta variant. One FDA official said there had been close to 100 deaths in that age group so far and 1.9 million infections. Outbreaks have also caused school closures and disrupted the education and socialization of children.
That's news. But for the very latest, visit us at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, or like us on Facebook, and sign up for our breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We're also on Izumi Media in bus terminals, as well as screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. And you can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM and Capital Media HD 99.3 FM.